All right, so I'm just going to demonstrate a couple technical things for how you could make your Collagraph plates, and I'm just going to really play here. But I have, this is my mat board. Yours is dark gray on one side, white on the other. You can use either side. It doesn't really matter because you're going to seal them. If it gives you more contrast, use the gray side. Feel free to do that. But first of all, imagine if we built up a plate similar to that face one, if I were to just do like cutting out. And when you do this, I would suggest scissors because this mat board is so thick. I would hate for you to use an X-Acto knife and just slip off, and it's really easy to kind of go off course and cut yourself. So we're just going to use the scissors like so. And imagine that this is a masterpiece here. If I took my time, I could make this nice and neat, which I am not doing. But let's say we have this. Boom, we've cut this out, and this we could then glue down to here with matte medium. You might want to put this under weights. This is our fluid matte medium. We could also use gesso to seal it, but if you just do a pretty thick coating on the back of your mat board, and don't worry that you're getting it on the other side because that's okay, because we're going to coat it in matte medium anyways. We'll keep this stuff all by the print making ink, but remember that this isn't for printing, it's just to make our plates. So I got a pretty good even layer, thick layer of matte medium on here. And then we're gonna coat it on the other side as well. And this will do two things. It'll glue it down nice and snug, but it'll also seal it so that when we go to print this, the ink will wipe off of here nice and smooth, and we can reuse it because the matte medium is porous, or I'm sorry, the matte is porous, and the matte medium will seal that so it's waterproof essentially, ink proof. We'll let this dry. Again, I really rushed this, so it's very, very rough, but it could look pretty cool, who knows? And pay attention to your brush strokes because these will ink up, they will print. So if you want to be really fastidious about making sure they go on the same direction, that's cool. I got some extra little errant strands or bristles from my brush here. We'll kind of see, those could print too, but you might just kind of smooth those out. Make sure they go the same direction if you want, or if you want more of a textural thing, or doing something with modeling where it looks like it's going the direction of your image. Cool. We'll let this one dry. We'll see what that one looks printed. One thing you could do as well, if you wanted to make an image out of your molding paste, you could first, say, draw your image. So I'm gonna go with this eyeball again. Say this is our image here. And then rub graphite everywhere on the back. Because this is so detailed, obviously, and I wouldn't be able to redraw it. But I'm just gonna put this one little section here, and then if you redraw your lines, like so. It will transfer, voila. Then what we could do is we could take our extra heavy molding paste, and there's two options here. We have more of this too if you end up using more. I have another big container of this, but one way to do this would just be brush it on in those shapes that we made, and wherever it's thickly applied, will make a textural surface, and you could get it right in to those images or the positive shapes and avoid the negative shapes. It's a little hit or miss because it is almost transparent and it's hard to see exactly where it prints. Plus it gives you a little bit of a raised surface, but that's part of the fun. It's giving you some extra kind of textural quality. Makes it look atmospheric, sort of like the trace monotype. But boom, that's one way of doing something that's a little bit more image making or image building as you're doing your plates. Or what we could do, and you could layer this too, so it doesn't all have to happen one fell swoop. We could also, now remember, don't mix molding paste with matte medium, but what you could do is put a little bit out somewhere in a container, use this thicker brush, and you can apply it thicker as well, like so. The other thing that we could do is we could take a matte chip. We have these matte chips over by the window, and we could lay on a thick course of this and then press textures into it. Now even this, because it's not completely flat, is going to give you some cool textural things as well. But then we could press different textures into it. Bubble wrap. Boom. You could even take the bubble wrap then, press that in an area. That's going to give you a texture as well, a little bit thinner, but it will show up. What if we were to do this feather? You can see why this will go fairly quickly. Do you want to scrape on a layer of the molding paste? Take a feather. There is a box in here that says 3D supplies. Y'all can use those. And then down under the spray booth, there's a big section of like textural items like this that y'all can use. But just go ahead and like take the feather, press it in there. Another thing that you could do is take a clean sheet of paper, like so, and just rub on the other side so that way you don't have to touch directly on to the molding paste, realizing though that that's going to give you a texture too, as that makes a mark in there. And then, hey, two options. One, you could just glue this down to your plate and then put a coating, once this is completely dry, put a coating of matte medium on top of that feather, see what it looks like printed. Or you could take the sort of void of it and see the texture that it leaves there. I think I will do both just to kind of see, compare the differences on those. So I'm going to take this, press it down in. Then I'm going to take some matte medium. And I'm going to paint, actually I'll do it with this. Paint the matte medium so that'll dry nice and solid on there. It might take a little bit of extra persuasion right there where it's got that little piece sticking up. Or you might need to like file it down, sand it down, or cut part of it off, cut the thickness of it off, or cut it smaller to be able to glue that down. But take your time on this. It doesn't have to happen very, very quickly. You don't have to rush it. Here's corrugated cardboard that I've ripped. I know Dylan likes to do a lot of things with layering with corrugated cardboard. Here, I'm just gonna take this and glue it down. I could also make an image out of this, like drawing into it. And then seal this with your matte medium. I'm mixing here. Please use two separate brushes so you don't corrupt these, but here I'm just coating it with a little bit of matte medium to make sure it's down and it's solid. And then once this is completely dry, coat it with matte medium or coat it with gesso. We'll do another little, these are the glass beads, which I'll leave over by the window as well. So these are literally little pieces of glass They're teeny tiny. It's like almost like glitter. And you could even do them into a pattern if you wanted to. Here we've got this little Scotsman, the bagpiper. We could do this and then sprinkle the glass beads on there. You can kind of see the glass beads. Then peel this up and we're ready to rock and roll. So I'm going to let this dry and then we'll see what it looks like printed. But that's basically an explanation of some different techniques of how to make your plates. This one's just using mat board, and this one applying textures with your heavy molding paste and your matte medium. Peace. Stay safe. Be well.